you like video games? Well, then Final Fantasy Tactics is for you. Seriously, this game is incredible. Epic adventure across the kingdom of Evilis. An adventure so good that Square brings us all back there in future Final Fantasy games. Save a princess, battle knights, uncover ancient relics, discover dark secrets, kill a demon, kind of overthrow a religion. This game has it all. Oh, and do you like grinding your way through enemies? Like really like doing it? Maybe even love it? Then you will really enjoy Final Fantasy Tactics. You want to be a knight? Sure. How about a samurai? Also yes. Ninja? You bet your ass. Orator? Dancer? Calculator? All yes. And like any good game, even the bard is a full go. So grab your controller, free up a lot of your schedule, and kick back for a great time with Final Fantasy Tactics.
Retro Recall.
Welcome back to Retro Recall, the show with more nostalgia than the number of times we've been told that this fantasy is the final one, when it wasn't.
Yeah,
But here, quick note before we get started. We've been noticing so many of you have been leaving these wonderful comments on Spotify, so we thought we would change things up a little bit. And from now on, at the end of the show, we're going to be reading some of your comments and responding to them. So stay tuned for that. We're excited about it as the community continues to grow. And I've been trying to respond to some of those comments. So if you've seen me reply to you on Spotify, then feel free to reply back and we'll have a little conversation. But John, what are we talking about today?
Today, we're doing a dive into one of my absolute favorite games of all time, as well as a game that's considered by a lot of people to be one of the best games ever made, Final Fantasy Tactics. Diving into the history of the game, why it is so widely loved and well-reviewed, and why it's not really that widely known for a game really of its caliber. So, yeah, that's it.
So here's something that I just want to point out here at the beginning is that Final Fantasy Tactics, the one that we are playing, is from 1998, and John's going to get into details about that soon. But there is a remake that came out a year ago called the Evilis Chronicles, which makes a lot of improvements. So we'll touch on that a little bit. But we're talking about the OG one because this is Retro Recall, and we're going back in time. What, like 20? How many years is that? 28 years?
More than I want to admit. A lot more than I want to admit. And I also do own this game. Like I have the original discs. I played the original discs on the original PlayStation. Well, I actually still have the original PlayStation somewhere, but I have the PlayStation 2 now that I play it on.
Right.
And I may use the original Game Shark I bought to cheat. So, anyway,
that's totally not something John would do. Would cheat?
Oh yeah, I will. Look, I would never cheat in a multiplayer, but I will cheat the hell out of a single player. It's just me. I'm allowed to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
All right. But let's have a discussion about this game itself. First off, I like to set the table. This is the latest of all the games we've covered so far. We're all the way to 1998. We actually had the internet at the point when this game came out.
We did.
Like common having the internet. I can't remember if this was the Napster era or not. I think 98 or 99.
Yeah, it was about there. Yes, I was in college.
Right in that.
Yep.
Yeah, this is January of 98. So Napster may have been this year. Who knows? But we're close. But of that note, the number one song in America, somehow, despite this being 1998, I have no idea what this is. Truly, Madly, Deeply by a band called Savage Garden.
Yeah, okay. Do you remember the really super chill song that was like, I want to share with you by the mountain?
No, see, at this point, I had music on CD, and I was able to just listen to what I liked.
Yeah, this song was all over the place. And it was just like super chill dudes just singing about taking a shower in a waterfall or something. I don't know.
Yeah, what I do know, because this matters to me, is on the same, the day before this game came out, Do or Die by Dropkick Murphys came out. It was their debut album with their original singer, and I randomly saw them on tour a few months later because I was living in Philadelphia at this point, and they had come down on their first ever tour, and I saw them at that point, which was really cool.
Yeah, this is one of those bands I never really got into. I wasn't into them.
It was just, I never heard of them, and I saw them play live and went, oh, they're good. Fast forward, 30 years? Yeah, apparently they are pretty good.
I'll have to check them out. Honestly, I couldn't tell you.
Murphys?
I couldn't name a song or like, I bet if I listened to some, I'd be like, oh, I remember this.
Yeah, and punk music, they're one of the better known ones.
Yeah, but by that point in my life, I was like on my way out of the punk ska thing and more into the emo like rock
which
thing.
is awesome. Well, actually, late 90s, you were right on track.
Like I was discovering Jimmy Eat World. That's where
I was about to say Jimmy Eat World. Modest Mouse is about to start coming out. Yep, these are all. Yep, you are right on track.
I was transitioning out of that punk phase of my life, but maybe I need to go back and check it out. But so what else was going on? You like to bring up like movies,
theaters,
and stuff, right?
The theaters are like a lot funny because it's January. So if you don't know, January releases are just all hot garbage, but you do get leavovers from December. And this December had a leavover of a movie that I still stand by sucks, Titanic.
We are on the same page.
Titanic was still wrecking, and I don't know how this movie is this popular. Titanic was destroying the theaters at this stage. Over a month, actually almost 2 months after its release, it's still the number one movie in the theaters by a wide margin, along with As Good as It Gets, which actually is a quite good film. Good Will Hunting, very good film, and Tomorrow Never Dies, which is fine.
Yeah, Titanic was ridiculous to me. Every girl that I was friends with was like head over heels over at Titanic because it was marketed really well. But I remember looking at them going, so how does the movie end?
It wasn't that. I've seen it
I was like,
once.
Does the ship sink at the end? And they're like, shut up. I'm like, I already know how the movie ends. Why would I want to go watch it?
I'm aware of it. Here's a love story in a sinking ship.
Right.
All right. I mean,
how's that going to end? Does it end well?
Well, it is a good metaphor. Like, we'll move on. But let's move on to Final Fantasy Tactics. So, for those who don't know what this game is, Final Fantasy Tactics is a turn-based RPG strategy game. You control the way you play it. You have one main character and a party of 4 others who have, sometimes one of them might be named, usually they're nameless characters. But what makes it kind of blow up is each character has a job. More commonly thought of as like a character class. They call it a job in this game.
Yeah, this goes back to the earlier Final Fantasy games, like from Final Fantasy, I want to say 3 in Japan or 4 in Japan on. There was a job system, and they were building off of that concept.
Yep. And so what happens is you level up your job class, and then as you level up your job class, you can then switch to other job classes so you can multi-class. For those of you who are D&D people like me, this is to me one of the best parts of the game. And then in the battle, each character has a set move distance depending on their class and some modifiers. You can have different attacks, different strengths. It's just this game's just a more involved version of chess. It's just incredible.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Is you've got like a little strategic little chessboard. You got little pieces on one side, you got their little pieces on the other. Everybody moves around, and they attack each. Yeah, it's kind of like a more complex chess.
And the game is set in the kingdom of Ivalice during a civil war. And the characters in Ivalice, this game, by the way, is so successful that Final Fantasy comes back later and goes, yeah, we'll use Ivalice a few more times. This is the first Ivalice.
Right.
It's not the last.
Right.
The characters uncover during a civil war that there's a dark, powers are working to basically potentially destroy the world. You have to fight and destroy them. I don't give away a lot, despite this game being 30 years old, because I think some of you, I'm hoping, will listen to this who haven't played it and will go back and play it. And the plot's really good. A lot of these games we play, the plot is either non-existent, hot garbage, or mediocre. This is one of the few games I've played, especially from this era, talking back to 1998, where the plot is exceptional. The story reveals are great. Even the ending is amazing.
Yeah, so you've played through the whole thing, and I just kind of dipped my toes in
a lot of times
to try this out. But I definitely played through all the Final Fantasies up until, I don't know, 14 maybe. And if you play 7, 8, or 9, this, even like the way the little characters are designed, reminds me a lot of 9. And the plot lines in those games were very dynamic and interesting, and things they set up at the beginning you thought were like conventional and typical things turned out they went sideways some other way. And so I could totally believe only getting through like the beginning section of this game that
the ending of the game is really good. I mean, it's got a very pseudo dark ending, and it's one of the better parts of it. So I recommend anyone who hasn't played this game, go play the game. It really is fantastic. It's a spoiler for the end. I'm going to tell all of you to play the game. Yeah. Now I'm gonna give you some other insights in here, because John and I are coming at this from very different perspectives. He's the nostalgia guy who played this in '98 when it was out. I'm the guy who saw. I want to say it was my brother, but I don't think it was my brother because we didn't have a PlayStation. Maybe an old roommate or somebody in college. I saw somebody play this,
and never actually sat down and played it myself. I only got to see them play it a little bit. And I will have some differences in perspective, we'll say, by the end of this episode.
One thing we should definitely point out is other two. So Tom has never played this game. He played it for this show a little bit and kind of dove into it. I bought the game in 1998, thinking it was a sequel to Final Fantasy VII, because what would I know back then? Fell in love with it back in 1998. I probably play the game at least once, if not twice a decade, ever since then. The last time I beat it was about a year ago. I love this game to the end of the earth. So you are going to hear a lot of fanboying out of me today, and I'm not going to apologize for that because I know I'm right.
My advice before we get to it is there is a remake for a reason. Go try that one first.
The remake might be easier to play. Sometimes it's one of those ones where, like, it's probably the same with Doom, actually. I mean, one person did point out that when we covered Doom, we should have covered all the Doom mods. Yeah. Because it's the same thing with Doom. I can play original Doom and take great joy in it, but if you're like 14, 15 years old playing Doom, you're like, what is this nightmare of a game? Like, why do I have no inputs? So I get that, but
we'll get that
things
do change over time. Sure.
But let's talk about where Final Fantasy Tactics comes from.
Yeah.
Because this is actually really interesting. So it is the sequel actually to a game called Ogre Battle, which I always get wrong, called Ogre Mage for some weird reason. I don't know why, but it's called Ogre Battle. Ogre Battle was on Super Nintendo, and it was an okay reviewed at best, by the way, game that was not very successful. Cool game, but the studio that made it was Square. Now, in the 90s, as the game system started coming out, Nintendo, here's a big surprise to all of you, Nintendo got a little dickish. Can you believe this? I know. Mind blown, right? Mind blown. And began pressuring studios to not make games for anything but their console. Pretty aggressively.
Exclusivity, actually.
Yeah. Now, the problem was Sony PlayStation had come out at this point, and PlayStation is beating the crap out of the Super Nintendo because, again, age. And even, honestly, later, the N64 was not comparative.
It wasn't as successful as they'd hoped to be, and the PlayStation 1 was better at certain types of things than it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of the studios had to make a decision, and they would decide to go one way or the other. Now, when you have a contract with Nintendo, Nintendo owns a lot of your IP. That is just one of the rules with Nintendo. So when Square decided to split off from Nintendo and focus over onto Sony, they did lose some of their stuff. So they had to kind of shift over. So when they shifted over, Ogre Battle, they had this game, wasn't a Super Nintendo game. It now had to become a PlayStation game. Luckily, Final Fantasy had shifted over. And so they went, cool. Yeah. Final Fantasy it is. Which the timing of this is interesting because, again, this game doesn't come out that long after Final Fantasy VII. So, yes, your timing is magical. But from a development standpoint, they didn't realize how successful Final Fantasy VII was going to be when they started this project. They just got lucky on that one.
I remember the fact that Final Fantasy came out on PlayStation and PC was mind-blowing to me at the time because I had played through from the beginning Final Fantasy 1 on Nintendo.
It was a Nintendo game. It was this was like Super Mario being on Sega. It was this big of a shift.
Right. But it also pushed forward that idea that if you want graphics like this, you need to move on from Nintendo and get a PlayStation or a PC.
Yep. And they were right. I mean, this was actually an era by the PCs were light years better, but we'll dive into that another time.
Sure.
But as a result, they brought in a lot of the Final Fantasy character style, some even the writing, all that stuff, even just some of the deeper meaning to the game. Ogre Battle was chess. It wasn't chess, but it was designed to just be more, it was chess mixed with Risk, mixed with a little bit of fantasy. That's how all Ogre Battle was, right? Yeah. Now, when they came to this, they were like, no, we're going to tell a story about morality, the dangers of power. This is that, because that's what Final Fantasy games are. They are meant to be true stories, true like ways that teach you about life.
Like a real fantasy novel is. Like that genre, like that. This is one of the beauties of fantasy. This is something I talk about in like the Lord of the Rings Lorecast. The reason why fantasy and sci-fi and anything else that branches out from fantasy is so valuable is it gives us this objective view of our own reality kind of pulled out into another world. So you see all of these parallels. That's the beauty of fantasy.
Yep. Totally. And that's what Final Fantasy, when they did this, it's very funny when I think about, you look at this game, what makes this game so great is this one transition here. If they just made Ogre Battle 2, it would have been lost to the annals of time as a mediocre game at best. But because they took what to me is a very good mechanic and then dumped heavy story over top of it,
right,
you got something magical.
What's interesting is you're describing it from one direction, and the way I perceive it is kind of the opposite direction, because I was coming, and I guess you came from Final Fantasy also, but coming from Final Fantasy, especially Final Fantasy, like the ones that released here in the US up to 7 at this point,
right?
You have by 7 a very complex and intricate story with lots of characters and character arcs and plot lines and things like that. And then you have a battle system where everyone stands in a line and takes turns hitting a thing.
Right.
And so imagine you take that same complex type of story, but now you add in a chessboard where characters can move anywhere.
Which is why it's so cool.
Right. And they use the same ability, the same types of abilities. Oh, do you hit somebody with your weapon? Do you cast a spell? Do you take a potion? Do you guard yourself? You know, like, which functions similarly in the previous Final Fantasy games, but now that part is exploded out into a chessboard kind of setting. So
yeah. And that chessboard setup, by the way, is one of the things we're talking about in the good I love about this, because you really do get, and obviously I'm a tabletop gamer, so there's a bit of it's a little bit extra, obviously, for me on that one, but it really is a kind of coup de grace for me, is that little bit right there.
Yeah.
So, but let's get it. Yeah. So as we said before, full transparency, I beat this game pretty consistently. Twice every decade, I go back through and play this game. So whereas Tom, new to you.
Brand new to me.
New
to
you.
I was aware of it. I understand what it is, but
so let's talk about now this game. If you're not aware of it, if you go and look at the reviews for it, it is one of those 10 out of 10 games. It is ranked extremely high, and there's a lot of people consider it as one of the best games ever made. And I want to talk about why, and more from my own perspective. And I'll kind of. So
John, let's do this. You sell me on all the things you love about this and why it's a classic and why it was so great in 1998 when it came out. And then I'll give you my response.
And then you shit on it. It's fine.
Trying it out in 2026. And spoilers a little bit. I will agree with you that there's a lot of great things here. I think that the limitations are mostly on where game design was at the time and the limitations of the system, but we'll get into that when I get to my piece.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the game itself. So first off, you do get, as we were discussing, a hell of a storyline. It is a true adventure where your hero's out to save the world, but it's also really in secret from the rest of the world. You get a lot of plot twists. Some of them you see coming, but a lot of them you don't, which I do love. I love a good plot twist, and the ending is an incredible ending to a game because it actually has a very real conclusion. The entirety of the game is a true adventure, and it reminded me from some of the more modern versions of it would be something like Horizon Zero Dawn, where you get these moments of, oh wow, these discoverable moments of, wow, that's incredible.
It really recontextualizes. So what you're saying is you get to a certain place most way through the story where all of a sudden you've recontextualized everything that's going on up until that point.
Yep. Okay. And it's really cool. I mean, that part's really
interesting, because I only got through so much of the game. And at the beginning, and maybe this is intentional by the writers, it feels very stereotypical.
It is.
Right at the beginning.
And that's the beauty of it. I mean, it's almost M. Night Shyamalan-esque in the sense that you're going down a path and you're just convinced, oh, okay, I've got this. And then turns. And that's what makes the game really cool, because you kind of know who the bad guys are, but you don't fully grasp the rationale behind them. Some of the way it twists and turns and some of the stuff, but even some of the causes for the greater conflicts become uncovered later. It's really very, very cool. Can be hard to follow though, if I'm being honest. You do.
Yeah, it seems like even at the beginning, there's a number of different characters and their relationships to each other.
I mean, it's kind of a classic Japanese game of like, you keep notes.
Right. Also, just throw this out there. In the original, some of the translations a little bit weird.
Yeah, it's not dead on.
It's not the best localization ever.
There's a little inference. You can tell they were like, you could tell there was a piece of like, this will be popular in Japan. The Americans maybe not so much, and they just didn't throw a ton of effort into it.
Yeah, or they just don't have the right word to describe it the way it makes sense in Japan.
This is obviously made well before Google Translate existed, but it does a couple times feel like someone threw something through Google Translate in like 2015. The next piece, though, and this is the biggest one for me, is the gameplay itself. And it's tough because I love a turn-based tactical. I really like
I do
XCOM.
too. I do too.
Oh, I love XCOM. What does this really well, though, is first off, Tom mentioned it earlier. When you talk about Final Fantasy, everyone stands in a line and fights. Occasionally, you might have something where you have to have a ranged guy because the enemy's too far away. But that's very, very rare.
Right, or there's like a front line is your fighters and the back line is your like ranged. Yeah.
But if you go through all of Final Fantasy, I mean, their backline maybe takes a little bit less damage from an assault. It's minimal.
Yeah.
This isn't. This is a full board. It's a full-size board where you have to move. You've got distances you move. You have maximum ranges to your attacks. Mm-hmm. You will move and actually not make combat. Now, I play tabletop games. This is how tabletop gaming works. You have to move a set distance, and sometimes at the end of that distance, you don't get to do anything.
Right.
Sucks to suck. It's kind of is how we. That's a term we use a lot.
Well, now you're in the middle of the board with nothing else to do.
Yeah, but nothing else to do. Looks like you're going to get shot next turn. Sucks to suck. And that is just part of it. I mean, sometimes your characters even fall on their faces. They'll miss. It is the act of moving around the board. The combat element of this game is so detailed and involved. And what makes it even better is the choices you can make because, oh boy, can you balance this out? You're probably going to bring a tank. You're probably going to bring a healer, a range, and a speed, but you can move this around a lot. You have so many build options because one of the terrains might be a swamp or a place with a narrow bridge. So you have to, move through that. So you can't really rush them. Or open plain, or in Warhammer, we call planet bowling ball, where it's just go for it.
It's just
flat planet bowling ball. Oh, watch out. Yeah. And the turn one, the enemy rushes you. Also, the enemy AI in this game is remarkably good. Sometimes maybe too good.
Dude, on the second battle, there's one guy just kept running away from me. And I was like, come on, man. Stand and fight.
If one of the guys needs to escape to win the battle, he runs away. You can't trap him. Also, they will pick apart which characters you have who are weakest to certain attacks. And they will hit them with those attacks. Mm-hmm. This game can be brutal at times. But I love that because there's too many games in this era where the enemies were just stupid. And this is the first time you saw where they really, they don't pick battles they can't win. So you really do have that. But the way you combat that is this customization. So you have 22 classes you can play through. 22. That is a lot. And you only have 5 people you're going to play with at a certain time. All of which you have to grind through to gain experience, which is called job points, and level them up. And you can grind and grind and grind. And it's sometimes worth it. Like the mime character is super worth it.
Yeah, there's a mime. I'm looking at all the jobs right now. They've got stuff like Squire, Chemist, Knight,
I can
Archer,
do these off the top of my head.
White Mage, Black Mage.
And what they do is fun things. So we'll just a couple ones off the top of it. So Squire and Chemist are 2 of the earliest ones you can get. Both of them, if you level up to level 3, you can get to the next one. But they both have a special ability if you level them all the way to level 10 or 12 that is super powerful. So you almost have to max them out because what happens once you've learned an ability, you can use it forever, even if you change.
So then you keep it when you change.
Oh, interesting. You can load them through. So to build to kind of build your super character, you not only want to just get to, hey, I want to be a mime. Being a mime's useless unless you have the piece underneath. Same like if you want to be a samurai, samurais are pretty slow. So you need some of the +2 move you get from.
I see. So it makes you more well-rounded when you get up to the.
So yeah.
What about, this is the weirdest one, arithmetician.
Okay, yeah. So arithmetician shoots a gun. And the arithmetician has, honestly, they've got one ability, again, that you're trying to use. They're fun to play with. They are super unarmored and they die very easily.
Interesting. Yeah, so
I'm doing this all from memory, by the way, which is wild how well I know this game. Oh, God.
Yeah, and certain ones build into other ones. And this is very similar to some of the other Final Fantasies.
Yeah, but it's basically Geomancer. Geomancers are really good. Ninja's good, although it can be a little unarmored. Samurai's probably, Samurai Knight you play with. Lancer I never really liked that much. Mime is super powerful. But yeah, because you do need to have a healer. You have to have a super magic user for distance power. I always bring a ranged character. It's a personal thing for me. Some people don't like it. But as you could hear by the way I'm talking about it, this game, but this is what makes it amazing. I've never played a game with this level of customization. I love XCOM. XCOM doesn't go this far. I don't have a game I can.
I mean, you could argue that Baldur's Gate 3 does at this point with all the extra patches and character classes
Baldur's
and
Gate 3
subclasses.
probably that's because that
one
right.
does.
And Baldur's Gate 3 came out in 2024.
Something, it was 23?
So
3 years ago now?
23. So yeah,
Something like that.
25.
But they've added
after
other
this.
patches. They said they were going to stop adding more patches, and then they kept doing it, and they kept adding other subclasses.
I love.
and things.
That's Alcat, right? Is Baldur's Gate?
Larian?
Larian. Okay, fine. Yeah, I was mixing up Alcat and Larian, but very good studio. But my point is, we don't see this very often. I mean, like Baldur's Gate 2 wasn't this diverse. Baldur's
until
Gate
recently,
1 was,
like the industry just was like tactics games don't sell. So XCOM 2 came out over a decade ago? Like that's been a while. At least.
I mean, it may have been even longer. I mean, XCOM 2 is
12, or we have the internet. We should.
We both have it.
But yeah, the idea here was that nobody thought these games would sell, and then Baldur's Gate 3 was like, check this out, and then they, and the previous games, the Divinity games, all those had done pretty well, but not to the level Baldur's Gate 3 did.
Not like Baldur's Gate. Divinity, and honestly, I'll be candid, like I fell asleep playing Divinity more than a few times.
Oh no, Divinity 2 was fun, except it had too much garbage on the ground. Everything caught fire and stuff.
That's why Divinity 2 was fun, but just the storyline at certain points just got a little.
Oh yeah.
That's what I mean. Like,
so XCOM 2. Okay, so it was 10 years ago. It was February 5th, 2016.
Yeah, there you go.
XCOM 2.
And I'm 600 hours in. Ooh,
there you go. Anyway. Yeah, but you're right. These games are fairly rare, and I say that now, having played Mugenics. I'm going to say that with a very strong M at the beginning. Mugenics by the guys that made.
Want to play the other version?
The other version.
Very bad. Not a fun game, Tom.
Nope. I'm not going back to that time in Germany. But Mugenics is by the same guy who did like Super Meat Boy and Binding of Isaac.
Yes.
And it's great. It's a tactics game.
Isaac. I forgot.
Oh, if you haven't played this yet, you need to pick it up. It is the most consecutive players on Steam of any indie roguelike game ever at this point. It's breaking records. And it's a tactics game with weird cat breeding, which is amazing. But anyway, back to Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah, but I mean, one of the number one reasons to play Tactics, though, is, to me, it's actually, ironically, is the grinding. And that it's because there actually is a reward to it. Yeah, I love grinding. But the thing is, a lot of times you grind. Yeah, a lot of times you grind for no reason in these games. And that's what I've always hated, where it's like, hey, I got to a point in this game, if I don't run around in a circle to quote South Park and kill boars in the forest, I can't advance in the game.
Right. Which is a very Japanese role-playing trope. It happens in all role-playing games, but Japanese games during this time period were very specifically known for you have to spend a certain amount of time grinding or you will not be able to beat the game.
Yeah, and it is true with Tactics, but with Tactics, they added an extra element of like, you also can just grind to kind of get cool different stuff. You don't have to have, I use the mime character. It's one of the hardest ones to build, so I use the mime. You don't need a mime to beat the game. In fact, and we'll talk about it in the bad, the funny part is when you grind this game up, the game will scale with you, but the story battles won't. So you actually don't need any of these characters for the story battles whatsoever.
Yeah.
You're doing it just for you. But at least there's a reward for it, which I really like. Because one of the Final Fantasy games I love the story, hate the game is Final Fantasy VIII. Because in Final Fantasy VIII, when you level up, it has no value. Don't you have to like suck power out of other enemies? Yeah. Well, in Final Fantasy VIII, it was the first one. The term's not dynamic scaling. It's the same. It's
where the world levels with you.
I hate that in games.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than putting a bunch of effort in to gain experience than having everything around you just be
stronger.
Cool. Your armor's prettier. It's the same buttons.
Right. Right. You don't ever feel like you're getting more powerful than the other things
in this game. In this game, the enemies do level up with you, but you can out level them by having better war gear, better this, better that. So, but yeah, that's my best pitch I got on Tactics. Other than just go play it and discover I'm right.
Discover you're right. Okay, so this is my chance to explain how I went and played it and discovered.
Go for it.
Well, okay, so I'm not going to disagree with the importance of this, the complexity of the tactics, which is monumental for 1998, and how much this influenced other games. The graphics are fun still. A lot of it still holds up. But here, I'm going to read through my notes as I played through like the first 3 fights, right? Load up the game, right? And just like this is taking me back to any of the Final Fantasy games of this time period. everything is so slow. The way it reveals a scene and like it pans over to the characters, or like the words on the screen slowly fill the screen to tell you where you are, who this person is. And so I'm writing down, right? The first thing I write is, dear God, I'm so bored. Then this interface needs to be streamlined. Every action takes forever to set up. Now, this was just on the very first battle, the first little tutorial battle, right? And then I'm like, I have to click 6 times when I probably only should need to click 2. That's a problem. Now, a lot of these problems were solved in the remake. I went back later after playing and I was like, what did the remake do? And watched some videos about it, and even some of the stuff that came out a year ago before the game released, explaining like, these are all the improvements they made. They fixed a bunch of this stuff. So go play the remake version, because I haven't played it yet. So it takes forever to set everything up. Too many confirmations. And then I write, when I'm supposed to select someone to attack, just go from one person to the next. Why would it make me move over empty ground if I can't choose it? Right? Okay, attack. And then it's okay, move 4 little units this way, 2 units this way. Okay, now I'm on the guy I want to attack. When instead, like in XCOM, it just pans from one character to the next. Yeah. Because it knows I'm attacking, right? But they hadn't made those advancements yet with the way these things work. So yeah. It just wasn't part of it, right? The characters aren't exactly color-coded, so even in those first few levels, if you really aren't paying a lot of close attention to which ones are yours and which ones are the enemies, once you're like most way through the fight, everyone's all mixed up. And I'm like, wait, is that guy mine again? We're not 100% sure. That could be a little clearer. Okay, so I can make characters auto-fight. Great. Then I'm like, oh, so this guy in the back who's just healing everybody, I just make them auto-heal when somebody needs damage.
Do not do that.
Right. But
do not do that.
I learned my lesson. You can't turn it off. At least I couldn't figure out how to turn off auto fight.
You can turn off auto fight, but more importantly, they're terrible at it.
I hit all the buttons. But this goes further though, right? And then this is just so slow. Then I write, even the way the text appears on screen is slow. The second fight in the game took over 20 minutes with auto fighting on. And on the second half of the second fight, I turned an auto fight on for all of my characters. I was like, maybe this will make it go faster, because I know this is one of the early fights and it's not supposed to be hard. Let's just put auto fight on. And then once I did that, the game just played itself. And then I tried hitting every button I possibly could to open a menu to stop the auto fighting, and I couldn't get it to stop. And then I finally won that fight. And okay, I won. Yay. Then there's a dying guy on a bed, more story stuff, but there's no voiceover. It's all text, right? Because 1998, right. The remaster, whatever it's called, has voiceover, and the character voices are great. The voice stuff, like the actors are real good, and they fix the weird dialogue. Yeah. So that stuff gets a lot better.
So the funny thing is, I've not played the remake. I know nothing about the remake.
Well, maybe next time
its existence.
It'd be worth. And looking back on this, I'm like, I maybe should have just forked out the money to play the remake. I would have enjoyed it more. But then I wrote, wow, this is some stereotypical story stuff. Does it get better later? Which you confirmed it does. So that's good. Yeah. Fight number 3. I guess I'll just put it on auto and go get lunch. Because I'm like, it's still an early battle. I could just I don't even get to really choose my units yet. When you choose where you put your units, you don't see the full map. You just see, here's a line, 2 lines. Where do you want to put your little guys? And I'm like, I don't have any context to know other than this is the front, and this is the back. What's better, right?
That's the best part.
This is where it gets real. But in the remaster, they show you the level and you get to choose.
Oh, that's BS.
This guy's next to the building and this guy's up by the bridge.
No, I disagree with that.
But you still have just as much range to put them. Like if it only gives you 2 lines, you still only have 2 lines.
The third word is tactics, Tom. Tactics.
How can you be tactical if you don't know what's in front of you?
That's the part you got to guess. That's the thing. It's this is what tactics are. It's hey, if I put this person here, it might be good, or they might be stuck on an island, unable to move.
Right,
I should be more conservative.
And you don't. But this is where the game really got me, because I made the mistake of putting it on auto again, going and getting lunch. I come back and I write, 1 character died, I guess, and then it's over. End game. Exits to intro movie, load screen, loads back to the last and only time I had to save it, not to an autosave at the beginning of the fight. Jesus Christ. Oh, great.
Oh, yeah.
The only time it let me save was before the previous fight. So now I'm on the third fight, and I got to go all the way back to the beginning of the second fight at this point in the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna old man spike a football here. You kids with your fancy autosaves are living in a fantasy world that is just it's silly.
Oh.
What is it? Is it
F5 usually is the quick save.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that
sometimes you die and discover you forgot to save the last 3 hours, and then you have to just walk away and have a little cry.
That's true.
Part of this.
It's true. I went through that. I remember other Final Fantasies definitely went through that. But here's the thing.
Fallout.
Fallout, you can go through. I clipped through the floor of Fallout 3 and through a bridge and fell through the world. And my previous save was like 5 hours earlier. And I was like, oh, great.
Yep.
And I definitely have lived that. But here's the thing. If the actual mechanics in the 1998 version of the UI and being able to choose stuff was snappier and didn't take so long, it wouldn't have been so bad to go back to that battle. But that stuff felt so tedious that it really turned me off.
The dialogue is brutal. I mean, I will be honest, like when I play the game now, because I know the dialogue and you can't skip the dialogue.
Right. Yeah. I
will have my phone and I will read stuff, or I'll even walk away. Like the way I went and got
lunch. I was like, I can this is probably easy enough. I just put it on auto battle. I'll get my lunch.
I can actually, like, from where my TV is and the basement, because I have a kind of a gaming setup in the basement, I can actually, my office is not far away. So I can actually take my remote over to my office and I can just press the button while the dialogue goes and get some work and get some stuff done.
Yeah.
And then, it's time to actually play the game. I'll walk back to the game.
Right. But I looked at the remaster and a lot of that stuff is solved. So
I'm sure it's solved, because
my recommendation would play that one.
No, it's because you all are weak. You all are weak today. This is weakness. So, it's be like making Pac-Man with a key control. No, it's got to be a bad joystick, so you mess up and get eaten. No.
You remember when you were a kid and like the family would all come over and there were only so many chairs in the living room because all the family's over, and so they make all the kids sit on the ground. You remember this?
Yeah.
Everybody goes through this. And I remember being a kid and being like, well, why are we the ones that have to sit on the ground? And the response was always like, we're old and we have bad backs. To which my snarky response was, well, if your parents didn't make all the kids sit on the ground back then, you wouldn't have grown up with bad backs.
Yeah.
This is the same justification of, I went through those hard times and that's why I'm worn out. It's not because I'm a kid. It's because I'm a freaking old man with a bad back.
Fun story. People in Japan don't have as many bad backs because they sit on the floor.
Yeah, anyway, the logic is wrong. Yeah, it's side logic there. But 8-year-old me thought it was sound. But anyway, that was my experience with the beginning of the game. And I totally understand that there are a lot of positives to this. And I have a very strong feeling, had I gotten to the part, like I was just getting to the part where you can actually choose character classes and the story starts to make more sense.
It explodes.
Like,
so I will
that be beginning honest. Part, like you get past the first hour and a half, and I have a feeling the rest of the game's a lot better.
What I will say for those of you who haven't played the game or listened to this, and they're going, Tom, John, you will probably pick up the remaster version because you all are weak. I'm kidding. No, because it's actually it's the better choice. The game, it's one of these, you'll hit the 2-3 hour mark and it will explode on you. Just one of these like, oh my God, I'm all the way in.
But that's every Square Enix game is like that.
Yep. Exactly. That's it's because of the way their writing is. Because their writing is so dynamic and it's so catchy that the first,
it's so front loaded is part of the problem.
The issue is that every time they write a story, it's a new universe. This is always like the advantage of a Star Wars is that when I make a Star Wars show or a Star Wars anything, there's no backstory. Everyone knows the backstory. We get to start on chapter 3 because the chapters 1 and 2 are just like, yeah, you guys know all this already, right? Cool. Chapter 3.
Yeah, everyone knows what a Jedi is. Everyone knows that it's a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, done. Next problem. Where these games, you do have to do a lot of setup. So your first couple chapters really are just a lot of setup, and then the writers go ham. And that's what this is all about. And that's why this game rocks. And you really get going. The characters are there. And also, at that point, you get a much better grasp on the battle mechanic. The battle mechanic is extremely hard, by the way, out the gate. As you described. It is very hard.
Yeah, I assumed on the third level that I could just put it on auto fight and everything would be fine. It wasn't.
Once you learn how to do the battles, they are super fun, super dynamic. You learn kind of what the distances are, weaponry, all that stuff. But it is, this game is not easy. That is one of its knocks. It is not easy. You will die. And the funny thing is, you probably will not die to a story battle. You will die in between 2 story battles on a random encounter because that's where it gets hard. Some of the floating ghosts Oh yeah, the power float's also great. I mean, there's a lot of this stuff this game is hard.
Yeah. I also feel like if it's not an optimal game for a controller. If you had a mouse, it probably would have felt better.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's one of those things. But yeah, it's just was there.
Yeah. That's just what it was at the time. Well, we're going to take a quick break because we've got conclusions and comments to get to, and we've got a bunch of comments. Thank you, everybody, for leaving comments. We're going to continue to make this a part of the show regularly because that's part of reason why we design a show is to build this community and hear your stories as well. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. John, I guess we've got our conclusions. I think people can kind of tell where we are at with this.
I'm playing the game.
I'm going to say what I think yours is going to be, and you're going to say what you think mine is going to be. I think yours is everybody should play it, and everyone's a sissy, and they should just man up and just get through it.
Yeah, play the damn game. That's what this is. This game is, right. If you haven't played the game, you're missing out. Play the damn game. And you're going to be like kinder and be like, well, if you're interested in it and if you like RPGs and you like turn-based strategy, then it's a great game because it is. There's a lot of nostalgia to it and it probably is. It's a progenitor game. That's my guess is probably more where you're going to be. Whereas I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if you only play like first person shooters. Go play this game. It's amazing. It'll convert you over.
Right. Well, what if we split the difference and we go, if you're 30 or younger, go freaking play the game because you weren't around and you couldn't have experienced it. But if you're like 30 or older, or especially if you're old like we are, then just play the remaster. Save yourself some time. You've got important things to do.
The game came out 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So if you're 30, this game came out when you were 2.
Right. That's my point. It's like, so like go back
30 or older, because you weren't around. 40 or older.
Okay, 40 or older. If you're an old person, whatever that cutoff is, if you're an old person, you've got other things to do, then do the little bit more streamlined version of the game. But either way, you should probably go back and play it. Especially if you like tactics games, that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible.
All right, let's get to some comments. Before we get to comments, what are we covering next week?
All right, next week we're going full eclectic, and I mean hardcore eclectic. A game that has no purpose at all other than unadulterated fun and hilarity. Because do you like fighting games? Cool. Do you like dinosaurs? Also cool. Because we're going to do Primal Rage. One of the absolute most rented games I can think of. I don't know anyone who owned this game. But
this was a rental for sure.
Yeah. Everyone rented this game and you rented it and were like, that was really fun. And then you returned it and never played it again.
Yeah. What happens?
Primal Rage is great.
Right. What happens when Jurassic Park and Mortal Kombat have a baby?
There's also a King Kong who somehow is a Blizzard guy. It's got a lot of, they did not want to get sued for IP violation. That's the best way to explain this game. Man, is it fun though.
Yeah, I have. This is one that I might have rented. I don't have any concrete memories of this, so I'm going to give it a good shot.
I do. I do.
Does it have long drawn out story points like a Japanese role playing game?
No, this game is dumb, and it is good. Fantastic dumb.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Speaking of prehistoric stuff, here's some comments. This one was on our Street Fighter episode. This is from Corey Price. He writes, dudes, I watched Encino Man recently, and it is exactly how you remember it. I laughed my ass off.
Oh, the movie's so bad, but it's still like, oh, wow. We gave so much credit to Pauly Shore.
We's in the Jews.
So much credit. Yeah. So much credit to Pauly Shore. He was
so cool in the 90s, and then all of a sudden he just wasn't somehow.
Because I think we know the real answer.
Yeah. All right. So thank you, Corey, for that one. Paul Pass writes for the Street Fighter episode also, God, I am old. My gaming days go back to machines like the Commodore, VIC-20, Master System 2, Mega Drive, Atari ST, and eventually into PC gaming. So many games. Memories.
Wow. I forgot about the Mega Drive. Atari ST, but I totally forgot about Mega Drive till you just wrote it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's some effort put into old school gaming. You're going back into the day where it was,
yeah. So I had an Atari and I had a piece, like an early PC, but I didn't have a Commodore. I didn't have like a Master System.
You're coming into like Math Blaster. There's some wild games we can do back then.
Yeah. So thanks for that one, Paul. Teddy Wiskman for the Warcraft episode says, please do ET. Lots of exclamation marks, LOL.
Nope.
Not playing ET?
Nope.
He's talking about specifically the Atari one that basically killed Atari.
Yeah, the game that they dug up the buried, what was it?
In the Nevada desert or whatever.
Yeah, because it is maybe one of the worst games. It might be the worst game ever made. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I had that game. I remember wondering very confusedly as a small child why that game was so difficult and didn't make any sense.
Yeah, Atari's the one system. I've played Atari, but I never had one.
Yeah. Another one from Warcraft. Oh, thanks for that one, Teddy. Jimmy All, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, from what says on the Warcraft episode, my life has been consumed by a lot of Warcraft in different shapes, so this was highly enjoyable. Well, thanks. We're glad you enjoyed it, Jimmy.
Yeah. Warcraft is fantastic. It's like, I never played World of Warcraft, but I played everything else.
Oh, dude, World of Warcraft is one of those games I play for a month. I don't get addicted. I just play for a month.
I can't do MMOs. I never could do them.
I treat them as if they're like single player RPGs with just other people who happen to be nearby me. Yeah. It's kind of the way I do it.
I just don't like playing stuff online. Most because I like cheating. Oh, and okay. It's mostly I like cheating. That's what it is.
That's it.
So.
That's it. Yeah. So there you go. Jimmy, thank you for that one. On the Battletoads episode, Roger Rankin writes, I remember this being so hard, but would love to hear a comparison with the Lion King 1994
video game. We should do Lion King 94.
And see what you guys think is harder.
So fun little story. One of my neighbors has a son who plays video games very excessively, like in a good way. He's actually going to school for video game design, and he threw Battletoads at him, and they watched him rage quit this game.
Nice.
And this kid never quits a game. Yeah. Ever. That's how he admitted Battletoads was the first one he's ever seen his son rage quit.
Yeah. So Lion King is
Lion King's worse. Lion King's up there. Lion King is.
I can picture it in my head, but I don't remember playing it.
Battletoads, I think, is harder, but Lion King's just all. We'll cover Lion King, but it's what the preview will give you all is that I think Battletoads is harder, but Lion King's a Disney movie. Why
is
it this hard?
Right?
This should be like Sonic, where in an hour and a half we're through it. And it said like, I haven't gotten to level 2.
Yeah. So I guess we'll be covering that sometime in the future, Roger. So stay tuned for that. Derp Seals on the Earthworm Jim episode writes, Stranger Than Fiction plus Earthworm Jim in one episode. You truly are a man of taste, my friend.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Stranger Than Fiction's an amazing album that I was listening to today. Yeah. And Earthworm Jim is a great game.
Nice. Yeah, good taste there, Derp. Lindsay Nation for F-Zero writes, God, we installed Doom on the PCs at TAFE, T-A-F-E. Not sure what that abbreviation is.
Military. Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm 80% military.
There you go.
Yeah.
Was so much fun. Yeah, I think you and like everyone else installed those on the computers at their schools or wherever.
Oh, no, it's not. It's Australia. It's the Australia Vocational School. Yeah. It's the technical and further education. Yeah. So the same thing we did. He was at college basically. And for vocational education. So install it to all the schools in Australia. So yay, Australian listener. Good
there
for you.
Go. Thanks, Lindsay. We got 2 more left. Simo 1981 for F-Zero writes, I remember so many bad sequel games for the N64. Pilot Wing 64 was great. Excitebike 64, not so much, LOL.
Yeah, Excitebike 64 was bad. Obviously, F-Zero 64 was bad. The 64, we'll cover some 64 games. The 64 was complicated because, as we mentioned earlier in this cast, Nintendo was aggressive with its developers and forced people to do stuff. The 64 was such a different system that a lot of developers just couldn't properly make games.
They lost a lot of other developers, And
the developers were like, hey, I can't make games for this. It's just weird.
Yeah. And then their own in-house games where they were still struggling with that themselves. And so you have some that are masterpieces, like Mario 64 is still very fondly thought of.
Is it? I hated that game.
Yeah, a lot of people love that because it established a lot of what the 3D Mario did and how it worked. And they did
Was the Zelda game considered good?
Yeah, some people love Of Time, and Majora's Mask is the weird one that also came out on the 64. But people seem to really love but Mario and Zelda still knocked it out of the park. But a lot of the other titles, not as good because they were still trying to figure out how do they take something like that and make it in 3D. And they weren't quite there yet. And then one more, this is, thanks, Simo. This is from Spencer Farrelly, also for F-Zero, writes, put some respect on Captain Falcon's name. The most hilarious part is the creator of Smash Bros. Says that Captain Falcon gets his powers, only really shown in Smash Bros., due to his faith in Jesus Christ. I did not know that fact.
I did not know that fact.
That's kind of amazing. Also, it's kind of funny because to Japanese developers. This is one of the reasons why you see like Christian iconography mixed in with all sorts of weird stuff in Japanese RPGs, is that the Christian faith is a mythology, just the same way that we would treat like Norse mythology or Greek mythology and then incorporate those elements. So having a character that gets their power from Jesus Christ would be like us having, I don't know, a comic book with Thor, the god of lightning and thunder, and not really think anything about it.
That works.
Yeah,
that works. All right, fair enough.
There you go. Thank you, everybody, for your comments. Those were awesome. I really do appreciate those. And I try to respond to some of them every so often when I log in to Spotify. But keep them coming, and who knows, we might highlight one of yours in the future. Also, if you want to help us out in other ways, share it with your friends. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts if you happen to listen on Apple, because those get spread out across the internet and help people know why they should be checking out the show. So those are super helpful. But also, if you enjoy our voices and want us to talk about more stuff, then check out the 40K Lorecast with John, or the History of 40K, or check out my other shows, the Fallout Lorecast, the Elder Scrolls Lorecast, and the Lord of the Rings Lorecast. But that's going to do it for this week, John. Any final thoughts or any final words?
Final Fantasy Tactics. It's awesome. And if you have played it and you're going, I played it, John, go play it again.
Don't be a wimp.
Yeah,
don't be like Tom. He's a wimp.
You'll appreciate it. It's such a good game. It's just such a good game. That's my point.
There you go.
And if not, just go play Primal Rage and join us next week.
Yeah, do that too. All right, we'll see you next time.
Recall.
Robots Radio. Games. Lore. Stories. Community. Just